Finally, a good card. We're gonna continue the 100% win rate with this card. Now, we're just gonna start. This is gonna be a detailed video. It's probably gonna be pretty long. No editing. I'm just gonna go straight into it. So, we're gonna start with the first fight of the night. Let's turn down the volume on this. The first fight of the night is Diego Lopes versus Steve Garcia. Now, it's a bit of a random fight, because Steve Garcia is on a 7-fight win streak, and he's been beating a lot of people in featherweight. He actually lost one time in the UFC, or 2 times in the UFC. First was a split decision, or like a close decision with Luis Pena, if you remember him back in the day. And he lost by finish to Maheshate. Since then, he's been on kind of a crazy run. He beat Chase Hooper, he beat Melky Costa, Sung Woo Choi, Calvin Cater and or Qatar and David Onama. But I think Diego Lopes, as we all know, like obviously he struggles against like the top of the top, like against Volkanovski. I predicted him to lose both fights, and he did. I predicted him to lose against Evloev. I didn't have a YouTube channel back then, but he is the better fighter than Steve Garcia, and you wouldn't think it, but he's also younger. He's like 3 years younger, and he has more experience. And I think the biggest factor of them all, he has way more big fight experience. He's been in 2 title fights against Volkanovski. Obviously, he lost both. I don't think any of them were really close, but he went 5 rounds with Volkanovski 2 times regardless, 10 rounds. But that's just going to make you a better fighter regardless of what the result is. If you go 10 rounds with Volkanovski, you're going to be a better fighter. And other than that, he's been in main event. I think his fight against John Silva, was that a main event? I think it was. And he finished him. He looked crazy good in that fight. Beat Brian Ortega easily, Dan Ige, Sadiq Youssef. He had a very close fight with Evloev in his debut as well, on short notice, I mean. Which is so impressive. I know he has like 7 losses in his career, but 8 losses. A lot of them came early on. Thiago Silva, the Chelsea centre back, and Jonderson Brito, that's actually in the Contender Series. And then he lost a few. I don't know what happened here in his career, but in the UFC he's been doing pretty well. He's the better fighter. I think his striking is going to be kind of close. Grappling is not going to be as close. And I don't think he's going to finish Steve Garcia. I don't think he's the type to get finished that easily. And he does train with Jackson Wink. Diego Lopes does slow down later on, but it's only a 3-round fight, so I think he's going to win probably the first 2 rounds and lose the 3rd round or something like that. It's going to be like a 29-28 decision in favor of Diego Lopes, so that's what I see happening. And he's had more big fight experience. This is going to be at the White House. A lot of people are going to be watching, and I think Diego Lopes is more used to that. I don't think Steve Garcia has he had a main event yet? I think maybe he had the main event in the Apex or 2. But yeah, Diego Lopes is going to win this one, I think by decision. Next, we have Bo Nickal versus Kyle Daukaus. Now, Kyle Daukaus, if you know, you know. He's had a resurgence lately. And I predicted him to win all his fights since he came back to the UFC, which is 2 fights. I predicted him to beat Michel Pereira. And I predicted him to beat Gerald Meerschaert. And he won both of them in like the first minute. He has a very good right hand, and he's very dangerous early on. And I think even when he was in the UFC the first time, he looked very good, but he just had like a problem with his chin or something, or durability, whatever it was, which made him lose. His first fight in the UFC was against Brendan Allen, who just won recently, and he's like a top 5 in the middleweight probably. He lost against Phil Hawes, who back then, Phil Hawes was that guy. He was really good back in the day. Kevin Holland, he actually knocked him out with a headbutt in 2021, if you remember that. And I think he finished him twice in that fight, but it became like a no contest because of the headbutt. And then he had 2 kind of bad losses in a row against Dolitze and Eric Anders, which cut him from the UFC. And then he had a resurgence on the local scene, and then he just finished Michel Pereira easily, finished Gerald Meerschaert easily. And his brother was actually also a UFC fighter, if you remember. I think it was Chris Daukaus in the heavyweight division. So they're like a fighter family. And I think he's in the prime of his career. He's fighting Bo Nickal, who Obviously, he's a good wrestler and all that, but he quit against the Ritter like really easily. I don't think he looked that good against Paul Craig either. He tried to strike a lot. He didn't look that good. Against Cody Brundage, obviously he won. Rodolfo Vieira, I don't really remember that fight too well, but I wasn't that impressed with him. I'm not that impressed with Bo Nickal. I know he's like this great wrestler, but I think he tries to strike to prove that he can strike. And I think Kyle Daukaus is just a better striker. And in the grappling, obviously Bo Nickal can get him down, but I think Kyle Daukaus is going to train so much on takedown defense. And he's been fighting, Gerald Meerschaert and the Eric Anders. I mean, obviously there's not the same level of grappling, Roman Dolidze, but he's been preparing for grapplers like his whole career. And he's obviously going to prepare for grapplers in this fight as well. I'm pretty sure he trains in the same gym as Paul Felder did. I'm not entirely sure, but I think he did, or does. I honestly think Kyle Daukaus is going to win this fight. I don't know, he's probably the underdog, right? But I think he's going to win. So we're going to go with Kyle Daukaus by finish in this fight. Yeah, that's what. Let's just check the odds. Are there odds on this fight? How can you see? Okay, so Diego Lopes is a slight favorite and Kyle Daukaus is a moderate underdog. Okay, so yeah. Next fight we have Ruffy versus Chandler. Now I actually predicted BSD to beat Ruffy, or Huffy, or however you want to say his name. But I also predicted Fiziev to beat him. I think he's a great striker, but his grappling is really bad. It's like really, really bad. And it's easy to take him down. Because also the way he fights is also easy. Because he spins around a lot and does like stupid stuff. But he's fighting against a wrestler who also has the worst fight IQ in UFC history. He's 40 years old. His fight IQ is literally the worst I've seen in the UFC. Like, if you look at all the guys that have been ranked in the UFC that I can ever remember, this guy has the worst fight IQ. Like, he could have had several wins in the UFC, but he just loses on purpose, I think. Like, it wasn't Khabib who said it, like, he loses on purpose to get the fight with McGregor. Like, I actually believe that. Because some of these fights, he should have easily won. He had, like, people in top mount, and he just made stupid decisions. And he keeps doing it. He's 40 years old. Like, what is he doing? He could have won against Charles Oliveira. Like, that's crazy to say, but he could have won that fight. He had him dropped, and then he just gets knocked out immediately in the next round. Justin Gaethje, I'm pretty sure he had him in some crazy positions, and he just lost. Same with Dustin Poirier. And then he had a rematch with Charles Oliveira. I don't even... Yeah, he got dominated that fight against Paddy Pimblett. Listen, this guy is the stupidest fighter in the UFC. Like, he's probably gonna try to strike with Ruffy, and he's gonna lose. Like, he's gonna make some stupid ass mistakes. I think, like, if you could remove his fight IQ and just replace it with like anyone else's IQ, I think he could still at 40 years old win this fight. But this guy, like, you have to understand how fucking stupid this guy is in the cage. So because of that, you just have to go with Ruffy. He's a more dangerous striker. He's way taller than him, way rangier. Obviously, his grappling is not really there. You can finish him on the ground, but Michael Chandler is just stupid. He's probably not going to even think of that. So Chandler's probably going to try to do like a kicking game against... He's probably going to try to head kick Ruffy or some shit. It says he's 5'11", but he's way taller. I swear, like, he's way taller than that. He's like 6'2" or something. That's just lie. Yeah, we're gonna go with Ruffy to win this one by fight IQ. Like, that's how we're gonna win this. Next fight, we have Derrick Lewis against Josh Hokit. Now, Josh Hokit, he did take a lot of damage against Curtis Blades, and it wasn't that long ago. It will be like 2 months. And you have to include the training camp as well. He's probably getting hit in the head. But I listened to an interview where he said, like, he's aware of it. And he's probably not getting hit in the head too much in this camp. So, you know, that's something to think about. Obviously a step up in competition from his first 2 fights. And then he went up to Curtis Blades. But then he delivered. And then I think this is a step down in competition against Derrick Lewis. Obviously he's like the craziest finisher of all time. But we've seen this guy quit so many times. And against wrestlers, he does really bad. Like, he always loses against wrestlers. I think it's going to be the same thing here. I think if Josh Hokit feels that the power is too much, I don't think he's going to get knocked out immediately. And I think he's going to be like, okay, like, this guy hits hard, let me just take him down and, like, win that way. And at any point in this fight, he can do this. Because this guy has great wrestling. Like, he wrestled Bo Nickal. He lost, obviously, but he wrestled at that level earlier in his life. And striking, obviously, is comfortable there. But he can take this fight down to the ground anytime he wants. And that's just how we're going to win this. He kind of decides where this fight goes. And Derrick Lewis is just not... He's been in the UFC forever. Like, when was his first UFC fight? 2014, that's 12 years ago, and he still has no wrestling, which is just crazy. Yeah, Josh Hokit is just gonna choose how to win, and he's gonna decide if he wants to finish this by TKO, by submission. Like, he's gonna decide, or decision, whatever he wants to do. I'm gonna assume he wants to finish, so he's probably gonna go for that. Or he's gonna play it safe and just win by decision, but he's gonna win regardless. So we're gonna go with Joshua Seth Hokit to win this one. Next we have Sean O'Malley versus Aiemann Zahabi. Now we're gonna start with Aiemann Zahabi, coached by his brother Firas Zahabi. If you don't know, that's the coach of GSP, among others. This guy is on a really long streak. He hasn't really beat the craziest people, but when I really started noticing him is when he won against Javid Basharat, Pedro Munoz, obviously Jose Aldo, and then a split against Chito Vera. But this guy is like a decision merchant. I think he has one finish that I can remember against Ari Chileng. And then he has some on the regional scene as well. But you know, he's a decent striker. He's gonna have a good game plan, etc. He's probably gonna try to wrestle a lot with Sean O'Malley. He's probably gonna have one of those game plans where he tries to win by 29-28 decision, but I just don't see that happening against Sean O'Malley, who is very, very good. Obviously, you know, lost twice to Merab. I think he low-key won the first fight. I know that's controversial to say, but I think he won that fight, the first one. It was very close. I had him winning. And then the second one, I don't know what happened. He just got dominated. And then obviously he won against Song Yadong. Destroyed Chito Vera. Destroyed Aljamain Sterling with, like, he had like an injury in that fight as well. Beat Piotr Jan. Like, he's been preparing for way better wrestlers than Aiemann Zahabi. Like, Aljamain Sterling is a way better grappler than Zahabi. So is Merab, and he had those are three training camps that he had against the highest level of grapplers in the division. And he's just going to be prepared for being taken down by Aiemann Zahabi of all people. And he's a better striker, obviously. He has a win against Piotr Jan. Like, you have to understand, even though it was kind of a shady win, you have to understand how crazy that is. He has a win against the current champion. And I think O'Malley is just a better striker. And he's going to be able to, you know, defend all the takedown attempts. So I don't really see how Zahabi's going to win. He's not going to knock him out. He's not going to outstrike him. He's not going to outgrapple him. It's just going to be one of those fights where O'Malley kind of does what he wants. And I think O'Malley wants to go for a finish. Obviously, it's hard to finish Zahabi. But I think O'Malley is going to want to look for that. I think it might happen in the later rounds. So we're going to go with O'Malley to win. Next fight, we have Alex Pereira versus Cyril Gane. Now, this is a really, really interesting fight. I know a lot of people are going with Pereira, but I'm not. There are a lot of factors to look at here. First of all, going up to heavyweight is crazy from middleweight. So 185 pounds to 205 pounds and then to 265 basically. I know Cyril Gane doesn't weigh 265. Like, what did he weigh in his last fight? Does it say here? It should say last weigh-in was 247 pounds. And Pereira is probably going to be around the same, but it's going to be a new weight class for him. He's not going to be used to fighting in that weight. He probably is used to fight around 230 or something. Listen, Pereira obviously he's that guy, like, he's won all the time when people think he's not going to win. But I saw a video of Artem Vakitov, like this guy who beat him in kickboxing. I think he's beat him twice. Well, no, he beat him once and then a split decision. I saw him break down this fight, and he made a lot of good points. He said that Pereira is not a technical striker. Like, he keeps his hands low. He's very effective with his striking. He doesn't really move around. And he has his hands low, and his defense is not that good. We've seen it time and time again. His defense is really not that good. Obviously, his offense is crazy, but his defense, he gets hit a lot. And he has been chinny in his career. He's been chinned by Adesanya. You know, he's been dropped by, I think it was dropped by Khalil round 3. You know, in his kickboxing career, he was dropped a few times and finished. I just think he's taking on too much in Cyril Gane. I think Cyril Gane is real. I know he had 2 stinky performances, or 1 stinky performance against John Jones, and then, you know, he lost the decision to Ngannou. But he didn't get finished by Ngannou. Like, he did well in the striking. Everyone gets destroyed by Ngannou. He didn't. Everyone gets knocked out by Derrick Lewis. He didn't. You know, Tom Aspinall, he was winning that fight. Cyril Gane was, until the eye poke. He was making Tom Aspinall look silly in that fight. Obviously, his fight against Volkov wasn't... I think he lost that one low-key, but Volkov is very good as well. I think that Cyril Gane is going to beat... I think he's going to finish Pereira. He could do it by striking. I don't think he really... We're not going to see him get finished, really. He's never really been hurt in the UFC. Like, in both his losses, it was because of grappling. Pereira is definitely not going to take him down and grapple with him. I think if anyone is going to grapple in this fight, it's going to be Cyril Gane. And he said so in the interviews, that this is an MMA fight. Like, he's going to do everything to win. I think even in the striking, Cyril Gane could have the advantage. Obviously not in power, but I think striking, since it's heavyweight, man, I just see him finishing Pereira, like knocking him out, or submitting him, ground up, something like that. I can see it happening. And I think that's the most likely outcome of this fight, is Cyril Gane finishing Alex Pereira. It could be on the ground or standing up, but I think it's going to happen. So I'm actually going to go with Cyril Gane to finish Poatan. I think that's what's going to happen. So we haven't seen the odds on these last few fights. Rufi is a huge favorite. Hokit is a favorite. O'Malley is the favorite. Oh, it's an even fight. Okay, basically even fight. That's interesting. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Cyril Gane to win by finish in this one. It's 5-rounder as well. I just see Cyril Gane being the better fighter. Now, the main event of the evening: Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje. Now, I know everyone thinks Ilia Topuria is just gonna kill him in the first round, and that might happen. But I think this is gonna be closer than a lot of people think. For like the first 3 minutes. Like 3 minutes, I think it's gonna be kind of a close fight. But man, Justin Gaethje, like if you saw his last fight against Paddy, he was ducking his head down a lot, and I know that was to stop the takedowns, to like down block with his head. I know what the strategy was, and I haven't really seen him do that before. But he has been caught a few times in the UFC. He has been finished. He is 37 now, but he does fight differently according to who he fights. So against Paddy Pimblett, he was ducking his head a lot, but that was again to stop the takedowns. Against Fiziev, who is one of the best strikers in the UFC, he just beat him twice by striking. Max Holloway, obviously he was losing that whole fight, and then he got finished at the end. He did finish Dustin Poirier, but in the biggest fights against the best fighters, he does kind of lose. Against Khabib in a title fight against Oliveira, obviously he lost, and then against Holloway for the BMF title, he lost, and now he's getting another title opportunity against a guy who's never really, he doesn't really have any weaknesses. He is a lot shorter, which is gonna, you know, make it easier to grapple. The leg kicks could be a problem in this fight, but I think if, you know, what Ilia Topuria does really well is he counters, like every time someone hits him, he like answers with a strike back. So you don't get any free strikes against Topuria. Like he doesn't, if you hit him, he will hit you back like every single time. So you get kind of afraid to hit him. So if just in case he just tries to do naked leg kicks or calf kicks, like he does against a lot of other opponents, he's gonna get answered with a right hand by Topuria, which is probably gonna drop him a few times. I just think you can't really do naked leg kicks against Topuria. What he is probably gonna try to do is go for the head kicks, because that's been Ilia Topuria's weakness in his career. But, you know, Max Holloway tried to do that as well. And what Ilia Topuria did is he blocked them and then he countered with a straight right. Or an overhand right. And that's so dangerous to do when you're Justin Gaethje and you're chinny. Like, Max Holloway has the best chin ever in the UFC. Or one of them. And Topuria cracked that shit. Like we've never seen before. He dropped him a few times and then just knocked him out. He has crazy power and he drops levels with his punches. Like, he sits down on his punches, which you hear a lot on the commentary, but it makes such a huge difference. And what he also does really well is he doesn't just throw a right hand, he goes in with a jab. He does double jabs and then a right, to like, because it gives you more power when you know, when the right hand comes after a jab, it gives you more power. And he does it all the time. He does a double jab and then a right. Every time someone hits him, he counters. He sits down on his punches really well. And when he gets hit, he doesn't go backwards, he goes sideways, which makes such a huge difference. Just look at, if you look at Hamzat against Strickland, he was moving backwards all the time when someone hit him, like when Sean hit him. Topuria moves sideways, which is just a sign that he's a great striker, and that's what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to go backwards, you go sideways. He drops levels with his punches, he answers everything, he's very economical with his punches. And you know what he does really well against Oliveira, for example? He does a jab to the body, you know, and then he goes jab to the face, straight right hand, left hook, knocks him out. So he sets up punches in different directions. He sets traps. He makes you think about, you know, the body, and then he goes to the head. He makes you think about the head, and then he goes to the body. He's very smart in the cage. He makes a lot of good decisions, and he does everything technically correct. Like, he's really high level, and I've been hating on him for a while, but he is just that guy. Like, he's really, really good. There's no doubt about it. And when you think about it, like, he's a grappler. He's not even a striker, like, primarily. Which is crazy to think about, because who's gonna beat this guy? I don't know. He is insanely good. Justin Gaethje is really good as well, but Ilia Topuria is... The hype about him is justified, I think. I think he's just that guy. I have been hating on him a lot, but... Man, you just have to respect him, man. He is that guy. He has a lot of aura. I swear to God, like... I just saw he had an HBO series as well. Man, he's fucking good, man. He's really, really, really good. And I think he's gonna finish Justin Gaethje pretty early. First round, second round, like whatever. I'm looking forward to seeing him fight. I think it is on a Sunday as well. I don't think it's on Saturday. Yeah, it's on Sunday, 8 p.m. There's no way I'm gonna be able to watch this fight live, which is a shame, but it is what it is. He's probably the heavy favorite, right? He's a huge favorite, yeah, obviously. Yeah, so again, to summarize, if you want to rewatch it, it's I picked Diego Lopes by decision, Kyle Daukaus by finish, Rufi by finish probably, or decision, I don't know yet. Hokit, I'm gonna go with finish. O'Malley, either late finish or decision. Gane by finish, and Topuria by finish. I think we're going to see a lot of finishes in this one. What do people think? Lopes, Okay, they think Nickal is gonna win. That's interesting. Rufi, Hokit, O'Malley. Okay, I think Gane is gonna win, and then yeah, obviously Topuria. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe, do all of that, and I'll see you soon.